Hey everyone, it's Phil Frost from Main Street ROI, and I have Bogdan Zlatkov from AdRoll with me. Welcome, Bogdan.
Thanks, Phil.
And when you registered, you might have seen Elliot's name. Elliot Moore also works at AdRoll. He had to travel unexpectedly and is currently at the airport. So Bogdan is stepping in. But the material and the training today has not changed. And today we're going to be talking about how to combine SEO and retargeting to increase your traffic and get more leads. All right, hopefully you can see my screen changing, and we're going to walk through some housekeeping. First of all, if you have any questions, you can post those to the Q&A section of GoToWebinar. That should be typically on your upper right-hand corner of your screen, and you can just type right into that box. I'll see those as they come in and try to address as many as I can as they come in. I always recommend you turn off distractions. You'll get the most out of this if you're not also scrolling through your Facebook feed or trying to deal with emails. And I didn't put a bullet point on here, but we are recording, and we will send out the replay and the slides typically within about 24 hours of the presentation. And I have a quick poll, or actually a couple polls here, just to see who is on the line. And you should see a question. Are you currently working with an SEO agency or consultant? With the answers of yes, no, and then the third one is we are an agency or I am a consultant. And I see about 17% are in fact agencies or consultants. About 60% are not working with one, and about, it's fluctuating here, so about 28% are. Close out of that. And the next question here is just to get a sense for the size of your campaigns, the size of your SEO budgets. And it looks like pretty much across the board here, 40% less than 500, and around 20% 500 to 1,000, 23, 24% 1,000 to 2,000, 16% over 3,000. I'm assuming a lot of those are the agencies and consultants. And good morning to Herschel. I saw Herschel just type into the questions box. Good to hear from you. And one last question, and we're going to move on to get a sense for what are the other digital marketing channels that you're currently using? Are you using Google AdWords and or Bing? Are you using Facebook ads, email marketing, social media, or other? And if you do select other, if you could just type what it is you're actually doing in the questions box. Looks like a good mix here. I'm always happy to see a lot of businesses using email marketing. Ken's using affiliates and vendors. Tim saying he uses AdRoll consistently, which is good to see. Justin using podcasts as well as AdRoll. All right, looks like most people have voted. I appreciate that. Let me close out. And we're going to dive in here. First, if you haven't been on a Main Street ROI webinar, you're probably wondering, who am I? Why should you listen to me? Again, my name is Phil Frost. I'm the founder of Main Street ROI, and our business provides digital marketing services like SEO, online advertising in Google AdWords, Bing, Facebook, as well as helping with remarketing. And finally, we also help businesses with email marketing. And we also provide a lot of training, like this free training you're on today. And then we have some more in-depth courses on different marketing topics. And those are paid courses, which you can look at on mainstreetroi.com/training. And to date, we've helped over 2,000 businesses with their digital marketing. And my thought leadership has been featured in Forbes, Inc., Amex, as well as Mashable. And I will kick it over to Bogdan. I'll let you introduce yourself.
Thanks, Phil. So I lead the content strategy for the B2B side of AdRoll's business. As you guys might know, AdRoll is one of the leaders really in digital advertising, starting off with retargeting, which was kind of our bread and butter, but now expanding to prospecting, to ABM, to email marketing. So I handle all the content marketing on our behalf, and so a lot of that involves learning best practices from all sorts of companies. So far, I've helped literally thousands of businesses optimize their marketing strategy. So I'm excited to be here and share some of those tips that I've learned along the way with you guys.
Nice. Looking forward to that. And here's what we're going to cover. We're actually going to break this up into two parts. We'll have part one, which I'll walk through. And that'll be focused on getting your website to rank high in Google using search engine optimization. I'll walk through some Google updates. I'll walk through 3 steps to get your website ranked. And I'll also go through a little trick that you can use to get ranked in 30 days or less. And then I will hand it off to Bogdan, and he's going to walk through, so once you've got that traffic from SEO, how do you actually convert that? So converting your SEO traffic. He'll walk you through retargeting, how to measure your success with retargeting, as well as how to launch your campaigns. And at the end, I have a special offer for attendees, and we'll have live Q&A. All right, so again, I'll go through part one here, and that's going to be focused on how to get your website ranking in Google. And before I do that, I find it's very helpful to have a little bit of the background on search engines in general, and also in Google, so that you understand where's basically from Google's perspective, you know, what they're trying to do, so then you can use that knowledge to help get ranked higher in their search engine. So I like to start this off back in the Alta Vista days, and some of the older folks will remember using Alta Vista, which is one of the first search engines. And back then, SEO was very basic. It was very simple, very easy, because search engines were just looking at the words on websites. So if you had, let's say, a day spa website, and you were trying to rank when someone searched for day spa, you would just need to put that phrase, day spa, on your web page more often than any of your competitor websites. Search engine would see that you have that word on your site, and you were considered to be the most relevant for that particular word or phrase. So obviously it was super easy. Those days are long gone. The problem with that is that it left room for spammers to, very easily get a website to rank high by just putting a word on their site multiple times. And that's why you'll remember doing searches and getting totally irrelevant search results. Even porn sites were showing up for just regular searches for businesses. So SEO is easy, but full of spam, and that's really left the door open for a company to come in with a better algorithm, a better way to rank websites. And that company we all know and love is Google. They figured out an algorithm that was better than just looking at words on the page. It also looked at how many other websites are linking to your website. So not only do you need to have the words on your site, you also need to have other websites hyperlinking to your site, and a link is basically a vote in your favor. So if a lot of other websites are linking to you, referencing pages on your site, then Google considers that to be basically a vote that your site is credible, it's an authority in your industry, and it deserves to rank high in their search results. So that was a pretty ingenious way to rank websites. It was new, and that's really how Google became the best search engine. It had the best results, and because of that, they became the #1 search engine. And the last key takeaway here, I think is important to understand, is that Google depends on the revenue that they get from the search ads. So if you do a Google search, just go to google.com, search for something, you will typically see advertisers at the top, anywhere from 1 to 4 different businesses that are paying to be listed at the top. And people click on those links, and then those businesses pay Google every time someone clicks on those links. And Google makes the majority of the revenue from people clicking on those ads. So that will hopefully clarify, why it's so important for Google to maintain the quality of their search results, because their business basically depends on people coming to Google, relying on Google, trusting Google to go there and get the information that they need. If anyone loses trust in Google, they're going to stop going there, and then Google's going to lose a ton of their revenue. So that's Google's perspective. They obviously just want to make more and more money, and the reason that they focus so much time and effort, and they're constantly updating their algorithm, is because they want to make sure users continue to come back and use Google and keep clicking on those ads. So with that background, it should be pretty obvious why Google's making all of these updates to their algorithm. Excuse me. And there are a couple that I think are critical to understand, so that you know how to get your website to rank, and you also know what to avoid. Because unfortunately, in the SEO world, if you do any research, you can find some pretty outdated information that used to work, and used to work not too long ago, but because of a lot of these updates that Google has made recently, those tactics don't work, and they'll actually get you into trouble. So I want to highlight 4 of those Google updates. So the first one is Panda, and Google basically was targeting websites that would give their users a bad experience. Again, from Google's perspective, that's a huge concern, because if regular folks like us are going to Google trying to find information, and instead of finding the information that you need, you find some super spammy looking low quality website, you're going to eventually start losing trust in Google and go use a different search engine. So Google realized that, and to prevent those kind of websites from ranking high, they released this Panda update, which would basically penalize websites that had low quality content and gave a poor user experience. And that could be, just not a very intuitive navigation, and websites that are full of grammatical errors and clearly written by someone that's not English as their first language. That's what they wanted to avoid, to again give that better experience for the Google user. The second update is the Penguin update. This is related to how their algorithm was built, which is it's built on looking at how many links are going to your website. And what happened, once businesses understood that, they took that to the extreme, and some businesses and even SEO agencies and consultants built what are called blog networks. So they went out, built, let's say, 100 different blogs online, and then had those sites link to their main website that they wanted to rank. So if you built 100 different blogs and then had those blogs linked to your website, you would obviously then have 100 different links. And back in the day, that would actually work, and your site would miraculously start ranking higher. But Google caught on to that scheme, and when they see that you have some low quality, kind of spammy looking links, like what I just described, you will likely get hit with the penguin penalty. And basically, they're just targeting websites that are over optimizing their websites. So they're getting these links that they didn't really earn. They don't really deserve those links. They just basically created them themselves to try to manipulate the search results. Third important update is the Hummingbird update. This was the more recent one where Google, the analogy is a car and just replacing the engine of your car. That's actually how Google described this update. They had to overhaul the way their algorithm worked because people started to talk to their mobile phones when they wanted to search. And also because of the rise of mobile, the geographic location of that phone or that searcher needs to be taken into context. So Google's algorithm was basically rewritten to take into account the new way that people are searching, which is primarily with their mobile phones. And the key takeaway here is that Google does understand context and synonyms. So a good example would be if you're walking down the street. This weekend I'm going to travel to Boston. I don't know many restaurants in Boston, so I might type in best places to eat nearby. So to a human, that's a pretty obvious question, but to a computer program like Google, best places to eat nearby requires a sophisticated understanding of the English language, and you basically have to translate that based on the context of where I physically am. If I'm in Boston, they need to know exactly where I'm located. I'm looking for something nearby, so where I am, and then best places to eat. That actually needs to be translated into restaurants, which again is very easy for us to understand, but for a computer program that takes another level of sophistication. And Google's engineers figured out how to do that. What that means from an SEO perspective is that one page on your site can now rank for multiple different variations of a keyword. And basically, if you have a page on your site, you don't need to create a lot of different versions if the keyword that you're trying to rank for, the intent of that keyword is essentially the same. So it basically, in a way, makes our lives a little bit easier. We don't have to create as many pages because of that Hummingbird update. And the last thing I want to highlight, because this is rolling out as we speak, it's the mobile first index. When I got started back in 2006, you didn't have to worry about mobile phones because, at least as far as I was concerned, I couldn't go online on my flip phone. It didn't work. But then soon afterwards, a lot of people started to get these smartphones. They started to use their phones to surf around and actually go to Google. And eventually, not too long ago, Google found out that more people are searching in Google.com on their mobile phone than they are on computers, which is pretty crazy how quickly that happened. When again, when I started, you couldn't even get online on your mobile phone. Now more people are surfing around on their mobile phones than on computers. So because of that shift, it makes sense that Google would change the way they work, and they have. And this is something that's happening right now. They're shifting their index, so all of basically their database, and instead of going to the desktop version or the computer version of your website, they're going to go to your mobile version first to make decisions about how you should rank. So that's a critical change especially for any business that does not have a mobile responsive or mobile optimized website. It is absolutely critical. If you don't have that, you definitely want to start investing in that and make sure that's a priority this quarter, at the latest first quarter of 2018, because in the next 3 to 6 months, Google should have fully rolled out this update. And again, when that is totally updated, Google's going to be looking at the mobile version of your site to make decisions about how well you should rank. All right, so now I'm going to jump into the 3 steps to get ranked in Google, and then I will kick it over to Bogdan, and he'll talk about converting that traffic. All right, so the 3 steps, I call them the 3 R's. That makes it easy to remember. The first R is research, and specifically we're talking about keyword research. And when it comes to keyword research, the tool I would recommend using is Google's Keyword Planner tool. It's a free tool. The caveat here is that Google recently made an update where you have to have a Google AdWords account in order to use this tool. It used to be completely separate. Then they repackaged it, and they're making everyone jump through the hoop of creating an AdWords account before they can use the tool. Last time I checked, you can still use the tool. You just you don't have to pay any money. But to sign up for AdWords, I think they do force you to enter a credit card. So you have to jump through that hoop, but then just don't set up any ads if you're not ready to do that. So you just have a AdWords account with no ads running, and then that allows you to use the tool. And the tool is basically a thesaurus. You type in what you think your prospects are searching for, and then Google will tell you data on those particular keywords that you typed in there. And then Google will also give you additional phrases related to the keywords that you put in the tool. So that's why it's like a thesaurus. You put in what you think people are searching, and then you'll get additional ideas, and then you can keep combing through and finding additional searches that are related to your business. One of the most important things when you're doing your keyword research, and kind of the biggest mistake that I see people make, is not understanding this concept of buying intent versus research intent. Because with any given keyword, it's either going to have more buying intent or more research intent behind it. And it's you can think of it like a scale, and any keyword is going to fall either more to the right or more to the left as far as having buying intent or research intent. So it's not an exact science, but the way to think about this is to put yourself in the prospect's shoes. Think about what they would be searching and kind of what their mindset is when they're searching that keyword. Are they more likely looking to make a purchase or schedule an appointment, or are they more likely just doing research on the topic and not really ready to pull the trigger and actually make a purchase? Another way to think about it is kind of what could go wrong with the keyword. So if you were ranking #1 for the keyword that you found, what are some situations where that would not turn into sales for your business? Classic example would be thinking about, if someone was in school just doing research about a research paper, could that be the majority of the traffic that you would be getting rather than somebody actually wanting to buy your product or service? An example that I'll use here would be for let's say a day spa, and let's say someone searched, or you did your research and you find people are searching for best day spa nearby or day spa in Flatiron, New York. So those are couple keyword options, and then let's say you do some more research and you come across best facial to remove acne. So that is a related search, but hopefully you can see that that particular keyword has much more research intent behind it. And as far as how could that go wrong, that could certainly be someone searching and just looking for a product, and they're just going to go down the road to CVS or Walgreens, whatever's nearby, and just pick up that product versus actually going and scheduling an appointment with a day spa. So that's the difference between buying intent and research intent. Hopefully that's clear, and that's absolutely critical when you're doing your keyword research because you want to focus on the keywords that have more buying intent. Third step here is related to that hummingbird update. So again, Google does understand synonyms. So if you find a bunch of keywords that are very, very similar, basically the same phrase with just an extra word here or there, you want to group those together, and then you're just going to be focusing one page on your site for that group of keywords that are very, very similar. And lastly, when you're doing your keyword research and you're grouping your keywords, you may determine that you don't even have a page on your site that would be relevant for that group of keywords, in which case you would then need to create that page to have a shot at ranking for those keywords. And we will get to how you would create that page in this next step here, which is the second R, which is relevance. So once you do your keyword research, you will now have a list of your buying intent keywords that are likely going to drive prospective customers for your business. And you will know which pages on your site you need to optimize for those keywords. And the step 2 is to actually optimize or make those pages relevant. So how do you optimize? It's really marketing 101. It's matching the message on your web page to what the market is searching. So again, you want to pick one page for the group of very similar keywords, and then you're going to put the keyword that you want to rank for in the page title, and that is one of the most important elements of the page. It's the analogy I like to use is the chapters or table of contents in a textbook. So if you're doing research and you pulled out a textbook and you needed to find where the answer to your question was, you'd likely open up that table of contents and scroll through the chapter titles. And a similar process is happening with Google. When someone searches, they search a question in Google, Google can basically look at their index and look at the page titles to see which pages are most relevant. It's kind of like combing through that table of contents. So you want to make sure your keyword is in the page title, so Google knows right away that your page likely has the answer to the question that person is searching. The other element is headers on the page. And if you're familiar with HTML, these are H1, H2, H3s, and it goes on, which basically it's just the level of the header. So the H1 is the top level, kind of the most important header on the page. And you can think of headers as ways to break up the different sections of the page. And they make it very easy to scan the page. So as a user, when I come to a page, I might scroll down and read the headers as a way to gauge whether or not the page is worth my time to actually read. Well, the same thing can happen with Google. Google will basically scan the headers to see if your page is going to answer the question that the person is searching in Google. So again, they're going to look, it's basically shortcuts. You can look at the page title. That's kind of like the chapter. And then if you're in that textbook and you go to that chapter, next you might scan the headers to see if, in fact, you're going to find the answer to your question. So again, you want to put the keyword that you're targeting in your headers, because that's going to be a signal that tells Google, hey, I've got what the person is looking for. Last but not least is your body copy. This is where a lot of businesses, I would say, screw up or have some misconceptions, because there's some information out there about keyword density, and that kind of gets you into this mindset of writing your page for Google. And I absolutely want to recommend against that. Rather than, so if you do everything right and you optimize your titles and your headers, you really shouldn't have to worry about it when it comes to the body copy. So the actual words on your page, those you want to write naturally, and you want to more focus on sales copy than trying to write, quote, SEO copy. So you don't want to write for Google or any search engines. You want to make sure when someone gets to your page that they are getting the information that they need in a high quality format, very well written, and then with sales copy best practices rather than focusing on SEO. And here's the golden rule of relevance. At least for me, it's to put yourself in the prospect's shoes and then create a page that you would actually want to find if you were the one searching for that keyword. And taking that to the next step, you can literally search for that keyword you're trying to rank for. Take a look at who's already ranking. So take a look at those web pages that are already ranking and find the commonalities, and then find some opportunities or kind of holes in what's already available. So there's likely some really good pages already ranking, but then there might be some information that they are lacking, and you would then want to basically create a better page than what's already ranking, and that will get you the best shot to overtake those competitors. All right, step 3 is reputation or website reputation. So if you do your keyword research, find all the opportunities, and then you optimize each of your pages, that tells Google, hey, I'm very relevant, or my website's very relevant for these keywords. But if you take a look in Google's results, you'll probably find millions of other relevant pages. And as far as ranking those, Google uses your website reputation. And if you do some research, you might come across this term domain authority. That's the same thing. That is a measurement of your online reputation. And the number one factor is going to be the quantity and quality of links from other websites. And it's basically reputation by association. So if you have a website with a lot of links from credible, authoritative websites, then Google's going to see that, and they're going to naturally trust your website and start to believe that your website has a strong reputation as well, because why else would these other high quality, trusted websites be linking to your website? Now, when it comes to ranking your website, links are the biggest factor. However, if you have a locally focused business and you want to get ranked in those map results, so if you do, again, like a search for day spa near me, day spa nearby, you'll likely get a list of the local day spas near your actual location. And it'll be a map on the first page of Google with icons showing you where those businesses are. That is a kind of a subset of SEO, and Google's actually ranking your Google My Business profile. And to get your Google My Business profile to rank high, you need what are called citations. And a citation is a mention of your name, address, and phone number. And the easiest way to get those is to get listed in high-quality business directories, because every business directory is going to list your name, address, and phone number. And if that information is the same across the internet, it's all consistent, then all of those citations are going to boost your Google My Business profile ranking, and you'll be ranking higher in those local map results. And I promised a trick to get ranked in 30 days or less because with SEO, it does take time, and it is more of a long-term strategy. It's more like continuously building up an asset for your business. But there are some ways to get some quick wins. And what I wanted to talk about here is something called Piggyback SEO. And it's a way where you can piggyback on other websites that already have an established domain authority, or they already have a very good reputation in Google's eyes. And it's pretty straightforward. So once you find a website that has a good reputation, you can publish content on that website, for example, like a guest blog post, and you would put your target keyword in the title of that content, because again, that's a big factor in the way Google will determine whether or not you're relevant for that particular keyword. And then the big question is, how do you get traffic to your own site? Well, in that, let's say it's an article, you would then have a link back to your site to drive the traffic from that article back to your website. I'll show you an example so you can see this in action. If you search for Google AdWords campaign, excuse me, you should see, looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, ranked number 4 there underneath the ads is an article I highlighted called How to Create a Profitable Google AdWords Campaign from Scratch. That's an article I wrote and published as a guest article on kissmetrics.com. So what we're doing there is we're piggybacking on kissmetrics.com's domain authority, because they have a strong domain authority. Google thinks that they have a really good reputation. So by publishing that article on their site, we piggyback on their authority, and we're able to get a page ranking very high for this keyword. And then in that article, if you go to that article, you'll see we have a link to our Google AdWords checklist that those readers can go grab. And then in the author bio, there's a link back to our website as well. So people search in Google, click on this article, read it, and then click through to our website when they're reading the article. That's how you can drive traffic and get a page ranking very quickly, even when your website is just starting out and doesn't have a strong domain authority. And with that, I need to give controls to Bogdan. 1 second. All right, just made you presenter.
Great, thank you, Phil. Let me just grab the screen from you here, and we will get started on retargeting. Really good stuff so far. Let's see. Let me see if I can figure this out. Bear with me 1 second, guys. Great. Does everybody see my screen okay?
Yep, I see it.
Awesome. All right. All right. So thanks so much for that, Phil. A lot of good information there. Basically, if Phil's section was about how to initially gain that that traffic to your website, this section is really going to be about how to bring those people back. So what I wanted to do now is kind of teach you, after you've optimized that increased traffic, all the strategies on how to best engage with this new traffic to lead to more overall conversions. So why are engagement strategies so important to pair with your SEO efforts? Let's dive into that a little bit. Most visitors who come to your site will not convert. In fact, there's a good amount of them that will leave your site without visiting even another page. It was recently reported that the average bounce rate for online landing pages can be something like 40 to 90%, according to KISS metrics. So typical conversion rates for these sites are even lower. Sometimes it could be 1 or 2%, which means that 98 to 99% of all your traffic will leave without taking the action that you desire. So how do we help ensure you're capturing and converting these audiences? Well, the answer really lies in display advertising. Before we dive into the specific strategies for display marketing, I wanted to give a background on what display advertising means and where these ads will show up online. Display advertising at its heart is simply advertising on websites and social media across both desktop and mobile. So it would include anything you would see on sites like New York Times or ESPN, but it won't include kind of those walled off gardens like Google or Bing. We do get a lot of questions about whether or not these ads will display on sites that marketers do not want them to appear on. The simple answer is that they don't have to. There are rules against being on bad sites from ad networks and exchanges. They won't display on your competitors' sites. However, you will want them to display on as many sites as possible, because this means you're extending the reach of your campaigns to wherever your potential clients are surfing the internet. This is where retargeting advertising comes into play. So retargeting is a subset of display advertising that we'll jump into. Before retargeting, the common practice was something called a direct media buy. This involves buying ad space from outside sales teams at specific sites that you thought your target audience might visit. These practices included individual ad buys, contract buys with sites for periods of time or for amounts of money, or even full page buyouts. While this is effective at reaching audiences who visit one particular site, it wasn't great at reaching your audience wherever they go online. Retargeting stepped in to help increase overall ad reach and create a more personalized experience for your target audience. While retargeting is a type of display advertising, it can also be used in search marketing. So how does retargeting work? If you look at this graphic, retargeting basically works by anonymously keeping track of the unique visitors to your site. It's able to take into account the pages they visited, the forums they filled out, and the products they viewed. It then uses this information to serve them ads that are specific to their interactions with your site, if they leave and don't convert. So for example, if you are selling something like jeans and a potential customer puts a pair of jeans in their cart but leaves without checking out, you would be able to serve them ads across the web for that exact pair of jeans in order to convince them to come back and complete the purchase. I think at this point, I'm sure that we've all been retargeted in some way. I, for instance, use this feature personally just to kind of set reminders for myself of things that I should buy in the future. I'll go to that person's website, click on some of the products, and then that way it's kind of like a little ad reminder for me. The great thing about retargeting is that it isn't against privacy laws. So this is something that gets confused pretty often. There are no personal identifiable info shared in retargeting. It features 100% anonymous tracking. There are some industries like healthcare and hunting equipment that have some basic restrictions, but for the most part, ads can be served for pretty much any product. Technically, all that is necessary to place a JavaScript tag in the footer of your website. This code creates kind of a list of people that visit your site by placing anonymous retargeting cookies in their browser. This list allows AdRoll or other retargeting vendors to display retargeting ads to your potential customers as they visit other sites. Since AdRoll works with the largest ad exchanges, we can retarget your customers just about anywhere they might go online. So why is retargeting so effective? It all comes down to retargeting generating greater online sales by keeping your brand front and center and bringing those kind of online window shoppers back when they're ready to buy. Every time your customer sees your retargeting ads, your brand gains a little traction and a little more recognition in their minds. The high click-through rates and increased conversions that are typical with retargeting campaigns kind of underscore the value of that good branding and repeated exposure. So here we're going to talk about the 5 retargeting strategies that can drive really the most success for your business. So I don't want you guys to get overwhelmed. There's a lot of information on this slide, but we'll be diving into each of these sections in the following slides. We'll be going over general display, social media, search, such as Google or Bing, mobile, and then also email. Email is pretty important because it allows marketers to kind of personalize their newsletters or email sends with products specific to a user's interaction. So the first type of retargeting can be done through display advertising. This is a very simple form of retargeting to set up. It only takes about 10 lines of code on your site, and any developer can implement it. And it works basically by keeping track of people who visit your site and displaying those ads that you create to them once they leave and go to other websites. Social is one of the most important places that marketers need to focus on in order to reach their prospects online. Your customers are on social networks a lot. An average of 3.2 hours per day, or over 60% of that is from smartphones. So we all use social media. We know that we use it a whole lot. So the retargeting campaigns that run across sites like Facebook and Twitter allow marketers to stay connected with their target audiences, even if they're away from their desks or their homes. To get a social retargeting campaign up and running on most social vendors like Facebook or Instagram, you'll want to link your business's social media page to a retargeting vendor to get started. All pretty simple, and these tools are made so that you can use them as easily and implement them as easily as possible. The next place where advertisers can retarget their audience is through search engines. So for companies like Google, it works by serving display ads through Google AdWords. So it sends those display ads to your previous website visitors whenever they search through Google. It's important to note that search engine retargeting can be a great way to reach audiences Yet we don't suggest that marketers only rely on this strategy, as it really limits your reach to their campaigns, and it could end up wasting a lot of marketing budget if you just put, all your eggs in one basket. Mobile is by far the reigning queen of screens, so to speak. Your customers take their mobile devices everywhere, and they use them to buy everything from sunglasses to software. The opportunity is calling to reach customers on those mobile devices nowadays. The important thing to take into account for mobile retargeting is that you need to have a mobile optimized website. If you don't, then your customers won't be able to view or purchase your products, and you could waste all that retargeting budget. When our advertisers here at AdRoll add this platform to their online marketing campaigns, we typically notice that they can experience about 120% higher click-through rate, I think was the last stat that we pulled. And we serve about 30 or 35% more impressions as soon as you connect those mobile campaigns up. And then last but not least, retargeting through email is basically triggered through a potential customer's browsing behavior. Essentially, it works when a shopper visits your website and provides their email address via a newsletter sign up or a purchase. And email retargeting would then trigger a personalized email based on the shopper's behavior on your website. So it could show them products they viewed or products that are still in their cart. And your email campaign would then work to bring the shopper back to your website and encourage them to complete that purchase. This, again, is something that I use all the time to kind of remind me to purchase things. So especially now with the holidays rolling around, I'll essentially make my email list by creating a bunch of carts and not checking out because I want to purchase those things later. Email advertising can be incredibly powerful. I really want to stress this. On average, AdRoll email customers had open rates of 50 to 60%, which is huge, and click-through rates of about 10 to 20%. That's about 2 to 3 times the performance of an average email newsletter campaign that we're seeing here. So if you're noticing that your email campaigns aren't, going great, try adding a email retargeting campaign, and you should see your numbers improve a very good amount. Lastly, I just wanted to discuss some retargeting game changers that fall outside of these strategies. So this includes dynamic ads, prospecting, and cross-device marketing. Dynamic ads take ad personalization pretty much to the next level by showcasing products that are tailored to each individual's browsing behavior. You can easily leverage these kind of beautifully customized ads to drive better performance and increase those click-through rates on both web and Facebook. If you do sign up with AdRoll, we have an entire dynamic creative team that will help create ads for you with professional designs and all that. Prospecting is one of our kind of latest, greatest products. It works by taking your website's customer behavior, analyzing it, analyzing how they act on your website and across the web. And from there, prospecting finds new audiences online that are similar to your existing customers. Prospecting serves these new audiences ads for your products with the intent of having them click through to your website and convert, or if they don't convert, then they'll be added to a retargeting campaign as well. And then last, we spoke a little bit about how important cross-device is. I really want to stress cross-device simply means serving your ads on both desktop and mobile devices. We spend a majority of our time nowadays on mobile, so if you're not running on multiple devices, you're missing out on a lot of potential upside there. Okay, that was a lot of information, but I hope it was helpful for anyone looking to begin a retargeting campaign. Once your strategies are in place, you'll want to figure out how to measure the overall success of your efforts. So I'll just go over a few kind of key metrics. The 4 metrics to really look at here are engagement, efficiency, bottom line, and then customer retention and upsell. Engagement goals try to figure out how much your target audience has interacted with your brand. Success metrics for this include content downloads or account signups or sales meetings set. Efficiency metrics, for this goal, you'll want to ensure your average cost per advertising click is as low as possible. Next, we have the bottom of line metrics. These metrics tell you how your marketing is affecting the overall profit your business is driving. You'll want to measure this goal by looking at the average revenue you're seeing per new account, the number closed and how much they're spending, and your overall ability to retain those customers. And then lastly, you'll want to look at retention and upsell. This is something that a lot of people miss out on. These metrics show you how well you're able to keep and grow customers after and during their interactions with your marketing. So a lot of people get a new customer and they say, great, all right, and they move on to getting the next customer. Well, you're missing out on a lot of upsell opportunities there. It's been shown time and time again that it's easier to sell something to someone who has already bought from you rather than trying to convince a brand new person to purchase products from you. So you'll want to look at your overall churn rate, the length of a customer's activity with your brand, and the amount or ability you have to consistently upsell to your current customers. Lastly, and super quick, I just want to give a quick intro into the things that you should make sure you do before launching your first campaign. If you have more questions about this, we have a lot more information available at adroll.com. You can also check out our blog. It's just blog.adroll.com, and it has a lot more information on this. So launching your first campaign. First, you want to choose your reach. This means deciding where you want to serve your ads, websites, social media, mobile. We recommend expanding your reach to as many platforms as possible to ensure your ads are getting in front of those target visitors. Next, you want to customize your campaign settings. You want to choose your overall budget. You want to schedule for when you want your ads to run, and any geo-targeting you would like to layer on. Next, you'll want to define your audience. Figure out how many people you would like to retarget with your ads by segmenting your campaigns before you begin, launching your campaigns. You can reach a larger audience by segmenting campaigns based on the people who visit different parts of your website. You can reach a smaller audience by segmenting your audience to target people with things like individual products or individual forms submitted. So you can really customize and tailor your ads within the dashboards to be super specific. And then lastly, of course, you'll want to customize your campaign by choosing your ads. This is kind of the fun part of it. You can work with a creative team to create and launch your ads. We have an in-house creative team that can help you out if you don't have your own, designers. And if you're having trouble coming up with ideas or you have low resources, feel free to use social imagery. Social imagery has been proven to raise click-through rates, so that could be something that you want to look into before you launch that campaign. So that was a whole lot of information, but now I'll pass it back over to Phil to share that special offer with you guys.
All right, sorry, I was on mute there. That was great, Bogdan. And I will be quick. I know we're over time here. Special offer is a bundle package of 3 step-by-step 90-minute training courses. First one is the complete SEO tune-up. Second one is the local SEO formula. Walks you through how to get ranked in the local map results that I mentioned earlier. The third one is Introduction to Google Analytics. I think every business should have a good foundation on how to set up and analyze their Google Analytics so they can measure the campaign results. And again, you can go to our site, mainstreetroi.com/training. Those are sold separately for $97 each. So if you bought all 3 separately, that'd be $291. But for attendees, you can get that for just the price of 1. So buy 1, get 2 free. And the URL is mainstreetroi.com/SEO bundle. And for everyone on the line that's not interested in training, not looking to do it yourself, I totally understand that. So I wanted to offer a free SEO consultation. To get that, just type in the Q&A box, yes, I'd like a consultation, and we will follow up with you after the webinar. And then if you're interested in AdRoll, you can actually sign up for free. And this URL will be in the slides that we send out if you don't want to write this down or you're having trouble typing this in, but it's app.adroll.com/onboarding/register. Or if you just go to adroll.com, I think there's a link right in the upper right-hand corner to get started. All right, we do have some questions here, and we'll try to be quick since we're a little over. This one's from Chris Bogdan. He was asking, what exactly is social imagery?
Yeah, great question. Sorry, I should probably clarify that. So social imagery is basically any images that you collect via your social media channels. So this is more applicable for people that have, consumer goods or B2C products. So if, for instance, you're a watch company and someone buys your watch, takes a picture of it, and posts it to their social profile and they tag your company, reach out to that person and ask them, hey, can I use your image for one of our ads? I think it's great. We have an ebook on our website. It's at adroll.com/resources, and it's all about influencer marketing and consumer marketing. It's called, I believe the name of it is Holiday Horrors. It's all about, launching holiday campaigns. So that's been proven to increase your click-through rates. Hopefully that answers your question.
All right, great. And there's another one here for you, Bogdan. This was from Lisa. She says, I presume retargeting is priced similar to Google. You pay based upon inventory competition. How does a small company with small budget do retargeting? Yeah, that's a great question, actually, and it's one that we get very, very frequently, Lisa.
Look at AdRoll's kind of foundation story. Our CEO was a small business who was doing all this advertising for their, it was basically a husband and wife team, and they were doing advertising for their small business and figured out that there are so many kind of pain points that small businesses have. And so as he built out AdRoll to the company it is today over the last 10 years, SMBs, small and medium-sized businesses, are really our bread and butter. So the platform is built for small and medium-sized businesses to take advantage of, these very big features such as, AI bidding, and we have our BidIQ engine, all these really big tech things that, the Googles and Facebooks have at their disposal. We're trying to make those available for SMBs. So if you go on adroll.com, you can sign up for a free trial and just kind of poke around in there. We also have a lot of excellent information in our blog section. That's blog.adroll.com. And it'll run you through case studies of how other small businesses have used retargeting to boost their business.
Okay, great. I had a question here from Chris. May I know if you send recording via email, because I didn't receive any from previous webinar. I'm not sure if that was a webinar that we hosted, but if it was, I'm not sure why you would not have received it. We send the replay to the same email that you registered with. So if you registered and received the GoToWebinar link so that you could join, that would tell me that you entered the correct email, in which case you should get that replay. I think we'll just do one more question here. I thought this was a great one. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing the name here, from Fung. What is the advantage of AdRoll Display Ad Network over Google Display Network?
Thanks for that. Yeah, that's another question we get all the time. AdRoll has the largest data co-op of any online advertiser. So Google has very much a vested interest in promoting, only Google products. We kind of come in there as a more independent company. We will advertise on Facebook, on Google, on Bing. We have a lot more reach than what Google is willing to give to consumers.
Okay, great. So I did see a couple more questions, but we'll follow up via email since we're 7 minutes over here. If you have additional questions after the presentation, feel free to email support@mainstreetroi.com, or you can just go to mainstreetroi.com and use the form on our site to contact us. Bogdan, any preference on how people reach out to you guys?
No preference. I mean, you guys can go to adroll.com. Like I said before, blog.adroll.com has a ton of really good resources, and you can also reach us from there.
All right, perfect. Well, Bogdan, I appreciate it. Elliot, if you're still on, I appreciate your help as well. I thought you guys did a great job, so thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. Really enjoyed presenting with you.
All right, perfect. Well, everyone, enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Have a great weekend. Take care.